Okay, Shalom, Shalom, it's the brother Kadash. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. This is going to be called Test and Testimony. Just going straight in, pretty much starting off with the test part, and this truth. This is something to look out for, when you come on this walk, you're committing to something, and when you commit to it, there's going to be tests, there's going to be temptation that you go through, things that's trying to pull you out of the truth that we call it, because that's how you're being tested to be worthy enough you really to serve the Lord, So just like the scriptures talk about, there's bitter parts, there's sweet parts. Of course, the sweet things is what attract you to the truth when you're hearing certain things, right? But then it becomes bitter in your belly because of the different trials and tribulations you have to go through, which is the test, right? But without the tests and the temptations that you go through, you wouldn't have the testimony, and that's very important to understand, when you come into this truth. The biggest test is longevity. That's the biggest test. When you come in here not giving up, you're gonna have days where you full of the spirit, and then you're gonna have days where things kind of get low, weeks where things kind of get low. Especially, we did a camp video called Quana did a camp video. We did one, right, on, it was called Quiet Before the Storm, right? And that was very it that was pulling on the strings, like they say, but it was, it was edifying at the same time, and a lot of spirit went into making that camp, because you got to understand, when the quiet before the storm, that's where a lot of people pretty much just give up, they get lost, or they give up faith, right? And then when the storm come, they not prepared, because they wasn't being, like the scripture says, Ezekiel chapter 3, they wasn't being a watchman. They had given up on being a watchman, because you constantly hearing that this is about to happen, that's about to happen, and then shit, it seemed like, the Ferris wheel of Mystery Babylon the Great just keep going. It's the same structure. You got to get up, you got to go to work, maybe on the weekend you find some time to do something, go to camp. You see what I'm saying? It keeps going on and on and over, but we ready, we ready to see the end come in. We're hasting the day. At least we feel like we ready, but that's the test, right? That's the test if you're going to keep going, and then we have examples of elders and stuff like that that's been in the truth for a very, very long time and still going strong, really stronger than anybody else in the truth to this day. And they've been in the years and years and years. Not to say that they didn't have low moments, moments of doubt, because that's the flesh, right? But the spiritual part is to keep going, all the way into the Lord says that. And I've seen personally people that come into the truth, and they expecting the end to come within 5 months, within a year. They expecting the end just to come, but then it don't come, and then guess what happened? It takes them out the truth, So you have to, when you come in here, that's the parable. What's that? Matthew chapter 25 about the 10 virgins with the oil. This is why we named the channel Israelite Covenant Oil. Because it's just giving brothers motivation oil. It's teaching the truth. It's giving you the truth. It's giving you motivation to keep going, And then shit, on this channel, we coming up to 1,000 videos. So that's a lot of oil. And it's not just, it's an example too. Like, look, man, look. There's 1,000 videos of oil just doing the work, being passionate about it. And now when you get in this truth, brothers gonna say things about you. Brothers could say whatever the fuck they want to say about you. And it's the same thing with the elders that we that we learn from. People say a lot of things about them. But one thing you can never deny, and it's not about works, but like James chapter 2 says, we show our faith by our works, right? Faith with works. Faith without works is dead, right? So it goes hand in hand. So, but one thing a person can never deny about you, if you do the work, they can't deny that. They can say whatever they want to say. They can have whatever feelings they have about you, but they cannot deny the work. And that's what's and that's what you got to do. Stay out of shit. Because what a lot of times I see brothers, they try to take your oil away from them and add oil to their plate. So they make a video on you, because that's just giving them oil to keep going. You know, they really just using you as like a stepping stone to keep motivating them, but really it's putting you down, and it could put your fire out and discourage you. And that's a wicked thing to do. You know, the scriptures talk about not doing those things in strife, and not doing those things in offensive to other brothers, and doing things in an offensive way. You're supposed to do things in a righteous way, you know. So you gotta watch out for that. So guess what you do? You just do the work, man. Just do what the Lord told you to do. Just do the work, because that's gonna be undeniable, you know, at the end of the day. Now this is 2 Timothy chapter 4. I remember when I first learned about this precepts, couple precepts I'm gonna read for you. You know, this one hits hard. That's why you always remember it. You know, this hits very hard. Verse 5, it says, "But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions," right? And afflictions come in a lot of different ways, but that's the test, right? It says, "Do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry." You can't make full proof until the end, right? It says, "For I am now ready." And we got examples of that, like Apostle Paul, Timothy, John, you know, Peter, you know, Yahushai, you know, Ezekiel, Daniel. I mean, it goes on. Jeremiah, you know, it just goes on and on and on. All the minor, Amos, Nehemiah. I mean, you know, you have to name all the major. They call them major prophets, minor prophets. It goes on and on. That's all examples, right? Now it says, "For I am now ready to be offered," and how they just kept going, you know, "and the time of my departure is at hand," right? "I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith." And that's what it's about, right? Oh, my phone's gonna go dead. It's a fight. It's a fight to stay in the truth, man. And you gotta, but the fight is to do what? To keep the faith, the oil. That's why we named it, once again, Israelite Covenant Oil. You know, that's the fight, to keep going, to keep pushing this truth, man. Until the Lord says that you're done. You know, not to your brain tells you that you're done, until the Lord says we're done. You know, here, wrong one. And that's the test, because you're being tested to see if you're going to give up, to see if you're worthy enough to get that crown. You know, you say you want that crown. When you come into this truth, you say, "Look, man, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to bear my cross. I'm going to follow the Lord, walk in the ways that he walked in to the best of my ability. I'm going to rehearse the righteous acts. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach this truth. I'm going to spread the gospel, you know, so the end could come in," like it says in Matthew 24. You know, I'm going to do this, right? Ain't no turning back, man. Very rarely do brothers fall out and come back in. You know, ain't no turning back. You just gotta get yourself in a position where you just you gotta be on fire, but you want to get yourself in a position where this is just a part of your life. You know what I mean? It's not a burden for you to go out there and teach and make the videos and edify and stuff like that. Revelation chapter 3, verse 10, it says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience," and that's what it's about, the patience, right? "I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which should come upon the world to them, to try them that dwell upon the earth," right? Now that leads me to Matthew chapter 6, right? Because the Lord, there's a reward for what you're doing, man. Everything you're doing is going to mean, it's not vanity. It's not vain work that you're doing. There's going to be a reward for what you're doing. And it's going to come in a time that you need it the most, right? Here, let me see if I can find it. Right here, Matthew chapter 6, right? Verse 19. Right? It said, no, verse 18. You know, you really get the whole chapter, but it says, "That thou appear not unto man too fast, but unto the Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly." So all this work that we're doing, that's the test, man. It's and you're gonna have a testimony, and you're gonna be rewarded for it, you know. It says, "Lay not up for yourself treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourself treasure in heaven," right? How you laying up treasure in the heaven? By doing the works of the Lord, following the Lord, having faith. You know, that's how you laying up that treasure in the heaven, right? It says, "Where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal." So when all hell break loose, right? You could pull from that spiritual bank, you know, and the Lord gonna be there. The angel, He gonna send the angels to be there to protect you, to help you in the time of your trouble, in the time of need. That's why I said in Revelation chapter 3, He gonna keep you from the hour of temptation. Verse 21 says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." That's the oil, the truth. That's where your heart has to be, in this truth, man, in this work. Um, let's keep going. Usually I have my Bible out, but I'm just um, typing. James 5, verse 7, it says, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman, right, waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain." And that's what it's about, being patient. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. That's the hardest part, you know. When you get over the going out there and really embarrassing yourself, but we don't look at it that way, and people talking shit, scoffers, and people looking at you weird, and your family members turning on you, people in the world, you not having, you really ain't got the sauce, you really ain't got the access to the woman, you really ain't got the access to the finer things of life right now, right? Because you put off those things, you put off your image, and you said, look, I'm gonna follow the Lord, right? I done had people say all type of shit. I done had people message me and say, "What happened to you? What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" Shit like that, right? But they gonna see at the end, right? Verse 8, it says, "Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh." That's what it's about. You gotta establish your heart. You gotta look towards what's Zephaniah chapter 2, seek ye the Lord. Back in Matthew chapter 6, the last verse, it says, "Seek ye the kingdom first." So you seeking the kingdom is you seeking the Lord, man. You got to seek those things with your heart, and then you'll be able to get over those tests, right? The Lord will keep you from that temptation. You'll be able to get over those tests if you put your heart in following the Lord, and you're gonna have a testimony for it, right? That is your testimony. All the things that you're going through when you're in this truth and you get on this walk, don't look at it as bad things that's happening to you. Look at it as, look, this is gonna give me my testimony. This is, man, what I had to go through, my great fight. You know what I mean? Just like the Bible speaks about Yahweh Shai life, and yeah, your life might not be written down in a Bible, but you just never know how the kingdom's gonna be. But one thing, if you're elected to be saved already, that's a reward. But the other rewards that come in the kingdom, with you inheriting the kingdom, man. Here, let me get this. This is Matthew's 25, if I can find it. Just a couple precepts off the top of my head, Right, Matthew 25, verse 31. It says, "When the Son of Man should come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory," right? "And before him should be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left hand. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world." And I believe that's Matthew 19, where it says, look, if you lose a wife, children, a house, whatever, for the Lord's sake, you should get 100-fold in the kingdom. But that's the test. The test is, are you going to be willing? It says in Matthew chapter 10, those that should try to find life should lose life. And those that are willing to lose their life for this truth, man, and it's going to find life, because you're going to be saved, And not only are you going to be saved, which is a big blessing anyways, you're going to be joined, you're going to inherit the kingdom, which everything that comes along, that many wives, many children, safety, peace, paradise, power, You know what I mean? Riches. It speaks about in Zechariah 14, how we gonna get the riches of the earth, all the silver and all the gold. It speaks about in oh man, I believe that's Luke 19, how you gonna have rulership power over cities. The Lord gonna give you power over cities. Let me see if I can get that one next. I believe that's Luke chapter 19. But let me keep going right here in Matthew 25, right? It says in hey, did I read that already? Yep. Foundation. So verse 34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For when I was a hunger, ye gave me meat. You know, you kept going through those tests, man. You kept doing the work. The truth. It says, I was thirsty and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger and ye took me in. Naked and ye clothed me. I was sick and ye visited me. And I was in prison and ye came into me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when shall we thee a hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee, or when saw thee sick or in prison and came into thee? And the king, that who's our king? Yahushua, shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done unto one of the least of these brethren, ye have done unto me. As much as you have done to the least of one of these brethren, right? Now watch this. If I could find it before I forget it off the top of my head. Because I write that down. Here, let me see. Now remember that the least that you have done to one of these brethren, right? Damn. Ye have done to me. Now let me see if I can find this. I ain't got my Bible. I'm going off the computer. And it's going slow. Right here, all right? Now, Zechariah 18, verse 16. It says, these are the things that ye should do. So he said, the least of these things that you should do until one of the least of, it says, roughly paraphrasing, right? It says, speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. That's the least. That's what you're supposed to do to the brethren. Speak the truth to his neighbor. You have to teach, do the truth. That's exactly what Apostle Paul was doing, going out there teaching. It says, execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gate. So not only are you teaching the truth, you can't be no motherfucking hypocrite. You have to do the truth. You have to follow the truth to the best of your abilities. You have to be an example. You have to live it. Teach it and live it. A lot of brothers get that fucked up. They teach it. They go on and teach every weekend, but they don't really live it. You got to teach it and live it. Meaning that's how you show your faith, and you rehearsing the righteous acts, and that's how you walking in the ways that the Lord walked in, which he kept the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? So you have to teach it and live it at the same time. And what did I say? Perfect example. Because there's a reward, right? Luke chapter 19. Is that starting at verse 17? Off the top of the head. That work you kind of started to learn. Luke 19 verse 17. Verse 17, and he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in very little. That's the test, because you got very little, but you still remain faithful. That's your testimony. It says, have thou authority over 10 cities. I know I want authority over 10 cities. Imagine if you was like a governor of 10 cities, American cities, right? That's big. That's a big thing. That's a big deal. It says, and the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound has gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, be thou also over 5. See, how are you gaining 5 pounds, 10 pounds? You're gaining it by doing the work, man. Right? So he said, look, be thou also over 5 cities. I'll take 5 cities. It says, and another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. It says, for I fear thee, because thou art an austere man. So the Lord was an austere man. Thou take it up, that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, out of thy own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man. So you knew I was about that business, right? It says, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest thou not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required my own with usury. And he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound and give it to him that has 10 pounds. You got to do this work, man. You can't be lukewarm, man. You know, the Lord brings you in this truth because you don't bring yourself in the truth. The Lord chooses you, and don't no other man that's teaching you the truth bring you into the truth. The Lord brings you into the truth. Now you got a responsibility. You got to go out there and be the work. You got to go out there and do the work, man, and be an example. You know, you can't be slothful servant. You know, and that's the test. That's the big test because when the Lord come back, you gonna want to pass the test, man. You ain't gonna want to be like this example. You want to be like the first couple guys where you get authority over the 10 cities, man. You want to get that pat on the back. You did a good job. You wanna have the elect clapping for you, the angels cheering for you. You did a good job. You did a good job. You did it. That's what you want, man. And that's the oil, you know, and that's what the channel's about. Israelite covenant oil, you know. So just a little bit more oil, you know, just to keep going, you know, and spreading the truth. Hopefully it was edifying. Today I'm gonna say salvation to the elect. Shalom.